Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Paranormal Mysteries Podcast. And if I can slow my tongue down a little bit, here I go, all fired up, wired up, trying to talk fast again. Sorry, Jason, I'm going to get fired yet. I hope everybody's had a great time. And Jason, how you doing, bub?
I'm doing pretty good. Just coming off a weekend.
You look
My
good.
wife and I's 16th wedding anniversary
Bless her
was
heart.
this weekend. So
Bless her
we
heart.
took a day off of work and we went to the Firekeepers Casino up in Michigan. Had a great time. Had a nice dinner last night. Lost some money, gambling, but now it is what it is. But had some drinks, had some alone time, and just kind of it was good, man. It was a good weekend, and come back today. My daughter started playing volleyball in the CYO programs at the high school. So it was fun watching her get out on the court and hit the ball around a little bit again, and
Hell yes.
then had some dinner tonight, and then on with you guys, man. I'm excited about tonight's show. Adam, I think the world of you. I think you're doing great things right now, and um, we're honored to have you on. I'm glad that you had some time to join us here on a Sunday night. Um, so, with that being said, I'd love you to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jay and Jason, for letting me, be a part of tonight's show. Just like you said, Jay. I mean, yeah, I think the world of you guys, and it's always a hoot to catch you when I can. Obviously, you guys do so much. It's like I forget what days or what's going on. So it's like I just see a notification like, oh, he's online. They're doing something. So I'll try to catch whatever I can of it. So, but yeah,
We're always quiet.
Yeah, and I mean, but Adam, you got a lot of stuff going on too. You got some shows going, and when the convention circuit was up and going, man, you were hitting things hard there for the weekend. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
again, let everybody know about you and what you're doing.
Yeah, so my name, well, Adam, the Black Swamp Medium, which is, a lot of people have a difficulty saying my last name, so it's the. I thought it was kind of ironic. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of why I put the little bit of a catch name in there because one, it's ironically in the area that actually Jason and I both live in, so it was a part of it so many years ago that was the Great Black Swamp. So I thought it was kind of cool that kind of gives me reference to where I live. So, but yeah, no, I'm a psychic medium. I do remote viewing, healer. I do music. I do relaxation music, which I've been able to kind of incorporate into a lot of what I do. Do gallery readings. I work with, I'm a part of the SWPI team, Spirit World Paranormal Investigations. We host public and private investigations at the Old Mill and Museum in Dundee, Michigan, which we are just ramping back up. So we're starting to get private investigations booked. So that's starting to become cool because of all the guidelines. It's been a pain this year, and you guys know that better. But yeah, no, I've been doing. I'm sort of in the newer realm, if you want to say, when it comes to psychic mediums. It's a long story. If you guys want to dive into it, because it is different.
Absolutely.
But it's different than what you commonly. I mean, a lot of people, the mediums, they. They're kind of born with, they know it from an early age. And see, I didn't have that growing up. It was, I pretty normal until about the 80s when I had some weird psychic moments happen. And those were weird because they were something personal to me. Like I would foresee an entire event go down. And it was pretty weird because, I could see the whole thing. And then when it happened, it just kind of like took me back. And I was, barely double digits, in age at that point. And so it was really throwing me for a loop, but I couldn't trigger it. I didn't know when or how, why it would happen. It would just happen. And then boom, it was there. And eventually, get out of high school and then went to college and then, graduated and started working. This is the fun part. I got into, I grew up, I was a, Cub Scout, Boy Scout, thing like that. And so I was, I really loved the TV show Survivor, the game show. And I was always into that outdoor thing. So I started taking classes from a school in Cleveland, Ohio called Midwest Native Skills. And, we were taking a week-long class and learning all the, the stuff. So if you have equipment, how to use it, if you don't have equipment. But one thing that was cool, and I brought it up in the class that week, was, there was this class called Shamanic Journeys. And I was like, what the hell is that? And so you read the description, it's kind of vague. And it basically said, learn how to communicate with your guides. We all have them. And if you're religious, you can call them your angels, but we all have something, everybody has that gut feeling, oh, maybe I shouldn't turn down that corner or, and whatnot. So, but I really got into it. And so basically, I took the classes right away. So this was in 2005. And I started in 2005 learning how to communicate with my guys. For the next 7 years, that's all I did was just talk to them, get information, help me out, get better at communicating with the other side. And then during that time, all the paranormal shows, other than the documentaries in the 80s, the rough ones, but the TV shows like Ghost Hunters and things came out, and eventually you'd see mediums pop on those shows. And I'm like, it dawned, I'm like, well, if they're communicating with spirits and I'm communicating with spirits, what's the difference between my own guides and something I don't have any clue about, because you kind of build up a relationship with your own guides. But I just said, hey, why don't I, figure this out? So I got connected with the SWPI team, and their resident medium, Jeannie, took me under her wing. And so we started there, and then I started going to a couple other mediums, and everybody was giving me little things here and there, exercises, try this, do this, and just kept perfecting my abilities. And then eventually, like in 2014, I just sort of, as I like to joke, I came out of the mediumship closet. And so I kind of made it the announcement of like, hey, I can do this, because I was doing it for the previous 2 years. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's the condensed Cliff Notes version.
Right. I am in the middle of writing a book about it. So, I mean, that's the hope is, so, because, there's a lot of people that always want to do this, but how do you get into it? And there's a lot of things that are involved. And so I talk a lot about that, and I'm probably about 3/4 of the way done with it. So right now I'm kind of getting into some of my earliest cases and personal readings, the ones that allowed me to share their information, because normally I don't share the detail.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I want to kind of share that stuff to just kind of show that it is possible. You can unlock these gifts. It is within you all. It's just, you really have to make a decision if you want to go that route or not, because it is pretty damn, freaky, especially in some of the cases that, I mean, you guys have been involved with, I'm sure you've all seen some bad stuff,
No, actually, I gotta brag there. In about the 10 years I've been doing this, Creep and I have never encountered anything negative or bad or anything like that. We've been, a little bit grumpy, a little bit pissy,
right.
Normal human. But as far as going beyond that being something that I would consider evil or even the D word, absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely. Grumpy spirits.
Yeah.
But hell, I tend to do that to people while they're alive. So why the hell wouldn't I do it when they're dead?
Right.
Oops, sorry.
I think that title gets misused so much when you start doing demonic or that kind of a thing, because to me, if you're investigating and the door slams or whatever, some people automatically, it's angry, it's demonic, it's evil, it's dark, look at it the other way with, maybe they're trying to get your attention and they can't do anything else. So slamming that door or shutting the door hard or whatever is the only way that they can make you stop for a second and go, okay, well, what the hell's going on in this room now?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the way kind of Jay and I look at it, because I've never been thrown down the steps. I've never been drugged down the hallway.
I've asked.
Right. I've never had any of that happen. I've been marked up a little bit here and there. I don't know why or how. Again, I don't look at it as you were trying to be aggressive towards me and scratch my hand in a nasty, evil way. I think that you're trying to say, hey, I am here. I am trying to answer your questions. We're not hearing each other.
Yeah. So, and it's just how they want to do it. If that's their thing of scratching you or, pushing on you, right. Yeah. I mean, I just worked a personal case not a couple months ago. And, they were, they obviously, I try to go in as cold as I can, because, it's the more I don't know, the better it is that, if I get something and then it validates what they're experiencing, well, then that, you're onto something, obviously. But they kept saying, they obviously sometimes they just start rattling off. So it's like I can't avoid them not telling me. So I just let them do it. And then when I got there, it ended up just like that. It was basically a spirit that just needed help getting crossed over and taken to the light, so to speak. And that's all it was. It was a peaceful transfer. He was all for it. It was a male spirit. Took him to the light, because I've done it enough times now, and and he was completely excited for the fact that he finally had somebody that could take them to the right place to go in the end. So he was just stuck, so it wasn't anything bad,
That's cool. The way you said that is that you guide them to the light, because I've gotten myself in a lot of trouble. Well, actually, there was only one psychic medium, sensitive, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
That one time I had quite a big debate with them that, they were the ones that said, well, I can make them cross over. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, oh, I can make them go. I'm like, so you're telling me that God couldn't make them go to heaven and the devil couldn't drag them to hell, but you can make them go somewhere.
Right.
What? So I have the utmost respect for you and any one of them that can say, I can help guide them to it, because I believe that. I believe that there are people that can help them find that if they're lost, or if they feel that if they missed their doorway, and they can help them find another way. I believe that can be done. But to force them to make them go over when God couldn't, please. I'm sorry. That's ego to me.
Right.
And
for sure.
Needless to say, they don't like me anymore.
I will say, though, but one thing I do is that if it is, that I do find that, especially like when it comes to children cases, and I get those, a lot where it comes to, 3-year-olds, 6 years old, and just young kids that are obviously seeing the boogeyman. Now, obviously, is it just what they're seeing in the cartoons? Is it, so you go through that process.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you finally get to the house, so when I remote into the house, then you can feel the tension as if you were standing there, and you can then see what they're dealing with and what's going on. And then you can put the whole story together. And then those are the times that I force them to leave. And I'm not going to go into details on that, but I force them to leave. But I'm getting them out of the house forcibly. I'm not taking them anywhere other than getting them out of the house.
What?
But
I kind of different on that right there. I mean, I get it, and I see some other people do it. I'm not saying that you guys can do it. I'm not saying that you make them leave an area or use sage or whatever you believe in, or your religious symbols to help them move into another area. I get that. Yep. But I don't like it when they say that they force. I can make them go to heaven, or I can make them go to. Right. You can't. If God couldn't make them go to heaven, or the devil couldn't drag their souls to hell, I don't see the right person. Moving them from this building to somewhere else on the planet or on this realm, okay, I'll give people that one. I really will, because I've seen Teresa and Tina do it and stuff. I don't understand it. I'm not going to lie. Jason and I are both very fascinated by all this, because neither one of us have any form of abilities besides, I don't know, a rock's got more brains than I do on this stuff. So, but to say to force them to go to heaven or hell is when I have a problem with. Right. Moving them around, having them leave this vicinity, leave this child alone, I can see that. Yeah. I can agree with that. But force them to go to one of the ultimate places, if the ultimate things couldn't do it, why does the person think they can do it? And that's where me and that person had a huge difference and stuff. And I just, when you claim to have more power than the Almighty, then I have issues.
Well, I'm gonna ask the question. I know that there's going to be some people here that are thinking, when you say you go in and help a spirit, go from, the transition, if you will, what makes the spirit stuck, or what makes the energy stuck that they need help going from this dimension to that dimension, or heaven, or whatever you want to say, however you want to word it? What causes, or what is the problem, even if that's the word, as to why the spirit is stuck and needs guidance from people with abilities like yourself and others?
Right. Well, just like that one I was talking about, it was weird. It was in the true form of being lost. And I think, a way to make it look, he was attached to the property because that was where his home was for many years. And he, for whatever reason, at the moment of his passing, he just didn't see where to go for whatever reason. Maybe it was just black, and so he didn't see the light. Maybe that's what I like to refer to. But just literally was blinded by everything and just couldn't know. And so it's just this constant pacing around, or, trying to get people's attention because it was a cry to help. But the few times I've seen it in that aspect where it was truly, they just had no idea where to go. Obviously, then there's some that are sticking around because they still have a vendetta with something, whether it was somebody did them wrong. So I have seen that as well. But it's why they can't see the light. I have no idea. And there's obviously cases out there where you hear people when they are passing and they're in that complete, kind of catatonic state where they just don't know what's going on. But you've heard them say, I can't see anything. I can't see anything and can barely hear you. And there's just like this black vision that's going on. And so they're not seeing family escorting them or helping them, because that happens too. So whether this guy, was, a bad person and he didn't have any family anymore. And that's where, because like I said, sometimes you get those helpers that come down and grab you. And if you're really religious, a lot of times angels will come down and get you and just kind of help you, because for whatever reason,
Oh crap.
to going towards the light, you just seem to think that as soon as everything goes dark, the light opens up and then you just walk towards that light. But for whatever reason, most of these people just don't. So that's just how I look at it, that it's literally just as black and they just can't see anything at all.
This is kind of interesting about how they have a choice to stay away, which I'm a firm believer in. I think that the one thing that if you follow Christian values and things like that God gave us, He didn't give His angels or anything else, was free will. And I think that we can travel between there and here to revisit things that we loved or enjoyed or whatever. But I also hope that that's true, because if there's a way to stick around and mess with people, when I'm dead, my spirit's staying here tonight. There ain't nobody gonna be safe. I'm gonna have fun.
Right. Well, and there's nothing wrong. And I think, maybe, and a lot of people obviously are afraid of dying and things. And so, then there's just all this stuff of what if this doesn't pop up, or what if I don't see this? What if, so you're putting all this, stuff that's just going to confuse you. And so maybe when that moment does happen, whether it's, sudden, or if it's, through sickness and things, and you just kind of fade away at that point. But I think if everybody just, I guess you could put it like for me, doing what I've been doing now for a while, I don't feel so horrible or scared of dying anymore. Like, younger, obviously nobody wants to. I mean, we're all going to at some point, but I don't feel so worried about it. I know that, I'm in the best place that I can be mentally. I mean, well, other than maybe a screw or two loose, but you never know. But at the same time, I feel like I've learned enough. I mean, not everything, but I've learned so much over the years, and hopefully we'll continue to learn more about what the secrets that we all are after. But maybe there's some trick to just being calm like I am. So if it happens, I'm ready for whatever's going to happen when the lights go out, and then, the curtain opens, and then there I go. I can walk towards where I need to do it. But,
Right.
But like I said, I think a lot of people are afraid of, when that moment happens, they just, they're not thinking about what's afterwards. They're thinking about what's right now, which is important too.
Right.
But, at the same time, I'm not afraid of looking ahead a little bit, just being comfortable with the.
I mean, I don't bring it. I don't wish it on, and I hope it takes its sweet time getting here.
Right.
But I've had so many close calls with being left for dead a couple of times from accidents and things like that.
Yeah.
That I've embraced a long time ago. I've accepted it, and I'm like, but I've always said that even before Teresa and I got involved with the paranormal, I used to always tell her, it's that warrior, that Celtic warrior mentality. I've lived 1,000 lifetimes, and I've lived 1,000 more. It's just what it's meant to be.
Right.
We live, we fight, we die, we come back. That's why it's the cycle of it. And I've always said that even before we got involved with all these things and stuff. So it's something I accepted many years ago. It says, that's all right. I'm just coming back to piss my ass off. I don't care.
The thing that scares me most about dying is leaving family and friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the thing that to me, and like you said, Jay, I hope it takes its sweet time with me too. But actual dying, I used to be deathly afraid of it.
Sure.
And I've grown to accept it's going to happen. Yeah. So I try to live my life to be the best person that I can
every day, every minute.
And when it's my time, it's my time. But death scares me because I don't want to leave my girls. I don't want to leave my son. I don't want to leave my friends with those unwanted or unanswered why. And, because that to me would eat me. That part of thinking eats me up.
Yeah. See, I know
like that, but
I got a feeling, and I hate to put this on you, brother, but I got a feeling that when that does go, it's gonna be something I've done stupid. And you're probably one of the people that you're always with me. You're probably one of the people with me. You're probably looking like the last things I'll probably hear before I go is like, "Told you, dumbass."
Right.
Like, Shit, it didn't work. This is the dumb shit that I pull and be like, well, at least I got one good laugh on the way out the door.
Gotta go smiling.
Patrick will ask you this question here because he's got the same last name. I just said Patrick.
It's my dad.
How do you handle those that do not realize they have passed?
That's one of those times where you sort of start bringing it in there gently, so it's not like a hard, you're dead, right? I mean,
like a lot of paranormal investigators do.
Right.
You're dead, right?
Right, exactly.
No, I didn't. Shocker.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I haven't seen it a lot. I mean, I've probably seen it a handful of times, but a lot. So, a lot of times I just try to establish a relationship with them if they're intelligent enough. I mean, obviously, if it's a residual thing, they're not going to pay attention or what, care who I am or what I'm doing. But my whole thing is, just talk to them and get them to understand that, you're just there to talk to them as if, they were still truly there, in the flesh. So if I build up a relationship, then I can slowly start sneaking in those answers. Obviously, if we're like us, if we're going to, investigation somewhere and we're only going to be there for a short amount of time, one night, and who knows when you'll be back again to try to continue on with what you were building up. But if that's the case, and then hopefully you try to get back sooner. But for us at our old mill, I've gotten a great relationship with a lot of our resident spirits. And so I've slowly, got things out of them, and I don't try to hit them with, I'm not a big one of saying, well, how did you die? I mean, I don't do that. I try to keep a lot of maybe what might be a negative, sort of question, even though it's like, we want to know real bad, but I try to pull some of that, the typical way we like to think, and I'm not saying that anybody's wrong in how they do their stuff, but it's just my approach when it comes to mediumship is just, let's talk normal and get them to be a friend, and truly be a friend, because then you never know what kind of information they'll share. So I'm very gentle and cautious and just choosy on my questions or what's happening, because even then, if I'm like at our old mill, maybe I'm not going to, that I was wondering when that was going to come up.
Come on, Dad.
That's show. That's perfect because, the girlfriend at the old mill. So we have a resident spirit. Her name's Marie, and she's very clingy to me. So when I'm down in the basement, she will come over and she will grab onto my left arm as if, kind of like doing an arm hook, and she'll hold on to it. And she'll even put her other hand and it'll be on my forearm. So it's interesting is I'll feel the coldness only on that side of my body and on that arm. And so I have skeptics, I've had our team members, I'm like, come over here right now. And I'll have everybody, I always say, okay, pretend like you're going to give me a hug, but don't hug me. So put your arms out. And I never tell them, the skeptics, I'm like, well, which hand, does one hand feel different than the other? Like, well, yeah, my right hand feels colder. Oh, okay. And not that it's 100%, for me, I know it's her even before I open up to then talk to her, where I can see what she looks like and I can go through, my questions or just, hey, how you doing? I miss you, that sort of thing. But she's been one of those that I've been taking years to try to just get things slowly out of her, just because I didn't want to scare her away. She's another one of these lost souls, and because it's our old mill, we're not in the and she's not asking either, to, hey, can you help me find my way or anything like that. She's completely happy there. So I just let her be. And plus, the old mill staff and everything aren't saying to get rid of these things. They're okay with it as long as they're obviously not doing anything harmful that, to the building and the guests and things that come through. So, but I mean, it's fun, but like I said, I like to just kind of take my time with them. And I think it's just a different way of approaching it. Like I said, everybody's got their stack questions built up, hey, can you tell us your name? When were you born, or when did you die? You get all those stock questions, but it's like, I try to do something a little bit different than everybody else. So
have you talked about being able to do remote viewing?
Yep.
Have you ever gone to a location, started having some interaction with the spirit that was there, and then it's 4:00 in the morning, it's time to leave, and you leave, but there's still that spirit there that may still have questions for you or want more interaction, is that something that you can do as a remote viewing and go back later and interact with that spirit? Because I don't understand how remote viewing works. I'm fascinated by it, and anytime I get a chance to talk to somebody that can, I'd like to know more. And I don't know if that something that you can do with it, or does it have to be? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but yeah. So I mean, I like to kind of really, you can look up remote viewing and you can look up astral projection, and if you really look at even just taking Wikipedia and putting them side by side, they're almost identical. I mean, there's just subtle differences. When I was taught how to do it, it was just remote viewing. So it's still basic. I just kind of look at that's just my term for it. So if people want to use astral projection, that's fine too. It's essentially the same thing. But how I like to look at it is imagine taking yourself out of your body and I'll say it in a funny way, a ghost looking appearance, and being able to travel anywhere in the world within seconds, which I do. I've had cases in Europe. I've had cases, this year I've had cases out in Hawaii. So it's just boom, I basically float out of my body. I can actually see this happening while I'm still sitting down. And then boom, I get to where I need to go. And because the clients are asking for the help, so I can lock in on their energy. I do find some shortcuts because I try to minimize the time I'm on site. So I can, I ask at least their city, and sometimes, if it's really, if I got a lot of cases going on, then I'll ask for their street name, but no house number. So I don't need that stuff, but I do it just to cut a corner because I found there's still a way to do that and not, try to get the answers or get the information where I could kind of go into a satellite view of the street and, and look, and look things up because, but it just helps me speed it up because typically on my remote view sessions, if it's a paranormal case, it's usually 15 and 20 minutes only. So I can get there, do what I need to do, get the questions I need to find, from whatever's there, if there's something there. And then either if it's something horrible and evil that I deem that I believe it shouldn't be there, then I will remove it, come back, cleanse the house, making sure that I kind of wipe any type of residual energy out of there and then leave. And that's just how I do that. But if now one of my cases and like in my bio, I sent you, I did, it made it on, paranormal. Geez, I'm blanking out. But I did a case back in 2014, I think it was 2015. And I went 3 times to talk to this spirit. So I was able to keep going back over the course of almost 6 months. And I kept reasoning with it the first 2 times. And finally he got so violent that he was attacking and literally, beating on a, I think she was 11 at the time, 11-year-old, and just beating on her. And she had major, marks all over her back. And so that was when there was one of the first times, and I was still young at doing this, but I was so pissed off that, I flew back in there as soon as I got clearance to go back in. Cause that's the other thing. I only do remote viewing if I get full permission from the owner. And that's another reason why I schedule a date and a time. So I said, I will be in your home from say 5 to at least 5:20. And then they say, okay, cool. But yeah, when I went back, I dragged that. We got into such a scuffle because I grabbed him because I was so pissed off that we actually were knocking boxes over. That didn't make it on air, which I wish it would have. But I realized that when I grabbed the spirit and I threw him against the wall, I was knocking over stuff. And people, the clients and stuff were upstairs wondering what was going on in the basement. But I was so pissed off, which was not good for me. But I was just so mad that he was attacking the daughter, and so that was it. I grabbed him and then I yanked him out of the house so fast. And but like I said, in that instance, Jason, basically, yeah. I kept going to try to reason with them because they were wanting to just be cool with it if it would just live in peace. But he would quiet down for 2 to 4 weeks, and then the next thing you know, he was just up to his old antics, scaring them and stuff like that. And it was just like, come on.
How do you prepare yourself for that, or how do you Is it something that you have to do like in a meditative state?
Yeah.
Is it something that you can, I mean, just hang out and say, you know what, I'm going to head down the street and, I mean, I know nothing about it. So
Right.
But
It is.
before you answer that, let me start about it because I went and looked it up. It was on Paranormal Survivor, season 5, episode 8, Bringing Ghosts In. So if you guys want to check out this thing, go YouTube it, go research it wherever you guys are on your cable provider on the thing, and go back in the archives and find it. Paranormal Survivor, season 5, episode 8, Bringing Ghosts In. So there you guys go. If you want to see this,
the first segment.
There you go. You want to see his story and actually watch what happened things and find out more about it. That's where you can go find it. So back to the question. I just want to pop that in there real quick and get the information out there.
But all right. So all right, wait. Tell me. Ask me one more time.
I just, how do you prepare yourself to do that? Is it something where you have to go into a meditative state to leave your body?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I'm sitting where I normally do all my work, because it's in the basement. It's away from everybody, even though, I have to work around a family. I got 2 young kids and stuff like that. But yeah, so basically I sit in the chair, I'll shut my eyes, once I confirm with the client, I'm like, hey, okay, I'm starting, in a couple minutes, just chill out, and so I'll shut everything off. I kind of close my eyes. I take a couple deep breaths. I do ask for, and again, this is just what I do. I ask for the creator, or God, however you want to look at it. I said the creator, my guides, to assist me and help me with, remote viewing into this home to help this particular person out, and if there's something there, help guide me to removing that. And so that's all while I'm got my eyes shut and taking these deep breaths and things. And then I basically slow my breathing down. I keep my eyes shut the entire time. And then it's becomes the point where you basically just start to watch yourself, from like a third person view where you're watching your body rise up and out of your thing. Don't try it unless you're doing it with other people. I wouldn't suggest it because a lot of people don't understand. It takes practice a little bit. It's not as easy. It sounds easy for me to say it, but I wouldn't just go and like, once the show's over with, go sit in your chair and try to do this.
Nope.
Because it helps to have people there with you because you might not understand how the movement goes. It's imagine floating up into space, and you're just in a spacesuit and you got no other means of moving. So it's kind of like that at first until you figure out how you have to react and things. So, but yes, quiet, meditate, and you float out of your seat, out of your chair. And then I watch myself go out of my house and I basically know the direction of where I'm going. And then boom, I just start like Superman. I'm like, and I just fly to where I need to go. And then as soon as I'm getting close, basically, you start to see like on thermal, you kind of see like a hot spot. And then basically I kind of, that's where I need to go because that's the connection. And that's another reason why I always talk to the client before I go, because now we're on the same, I'm picking up their energy, even through electronics, I'm getting a lock on them, And so as soon as I get in the area, boom, I'm there and then walk in and do my thing.
I've seen Teresa and Tina do it. And I'm like you said, you don't try it at home. No, I'm not going to, trust me.
Right.
And your dad, I'm gonna let your dad just co-host the show. I swear to God, I am, because he's got all the questions.
Well, see, so obviously we know that the TV shows and stuff are going to change things, or they're going to make it a little bit more entertaining. No. So they didn't want to reshoot the fact that I was in a separate location doing the remote viewing, so they wanted me to be in the house doing it. Which why would I do it if I'm in the house? I would just walk to wherever I need to go. So I'm like, okay, we'll move this little thing around. So they have it to where the actors are in this little circle and they show a guy. This guy starts doing this like shaking thing and then he rolls his eyes white. And the next thing you know, they kind of get him in like a transparency looking view and he's down in the basement and they're doing literally a back and forth, like shoulder grabbing thing. And I'm like, well, that's close, but he wasn't grabbing me, but it was just funny with the eyes.
Right. Yeah. Well, you got to do a little bit more for TV.
Yeah. If anybody that's been around the paranormal investigator, anybody's been around any with abilities, and it's thank God I can say medium with you, because some of you are like, well, a medium or a psychic, like, oh no, don't call me that. I'm like, gifted. How's that? Fine. Right. But it's just if you've been around a medium or gifted psychic, whatever you want to call them, you truly know that is more of the dramatization made for TV.
Right.
I mean, if you've truly been around any, same as the ones that walk in and go, start immediately throwing their hands up to the sky and yeah, I feel over here. I'm like, oh my God, please.
I don't do a lot of hand things. Once in a while, I'll kind of stick them out to my sides a little bit, just to sort of act like a little bit more of like a satellite dish in a way. But I'm not doing waving around.
But see, I do get the whole thing with the energy because Teresa and one of our good friends, Callie Cheryl, for years have been trying to teach me about the energy work and all those things. And we actually finally started catching on to it more. And I've been working with Jason with it. We've been doing some things there with it. So I understand the whole thing of energy transference. I understand the whole concept because of Reiki. Teresa has a Reiki master. She also does energy healing. So I understand that. Can I do it? Do I think I could ever do it? Hell no. But I do understand that, with my ADHD, they're always like, well, you're like having an Energizer battery around. Just come over and like touch me and like, oh yeah. I'm like, quit it. It tingles. I like it. But so yeah, so I'll do it again. I'll dare you. I'll give you a quarter. So it's I get all that.
Yeah.
But I don't get the whole ability to do it. I don't. And everybody, it's Scotty Rourke. God, I love him to death. Everybody's got abilities. So yeah, mine's being a smart ass. So I'm not psychic. I'm psychotic. So it just.
Well, but you know what? Jay doesn't give himself enough credit because he and
I give myself way too much credit.
No, he and Teresa have on occasion, and I've been there to see it, and I've actually kind of used me as a
guinea pig,
a play dummy. But yeah, because I'm all about learning. I love to learn about energy work and that kind of stuff. I think it's fascinating. And they used me a little bit in the hallway of a school. And they were pushing energy back and forth, and they have it on tape of me like almost tipping over back and forth. I had no idea. I absolutely no idea.
We were 10 feet I was 10 feet in front of him. She was 10 feet behind him, and we just started doing that energy and pushing energy towards each other. And you could see him when I'd say push towards me, Teresa. You could see him kind of. He's got his eyes closed. He's got him blindfolded. He just standing there. He thinks he just stands still. And he just every time we'd push in a direction, that's the way his body would start sweating. And he didn't know which one at first, and we just quit talking. We started using hand signals and stuff, and that way he couldn't hear us say what we were doing, and that way see how his body action actually reacted and stuff. And it was kind of funny and it was kind of cool until he about fell over and we was like, oh, he's like, what? I didn't move. We showed him the video. He's like
pulling energy, pulling people or cleansing people.
Yep.
With pulling energy, it's truly amazing to watch and see how the body works. And when you talk to people and it's when people die, their energy goes here or whatever, and you think about it, but then when you actually watch cleansing of energy and pulling negative out and things, or even being able to feel it gives a whole new respect for me anyways on how our bodies work and what actually is happening there. To me, it's amazing. And I love just trying to pick the brains of people that
I don't understand it, but it's amazing.
Right. Oh, it is one of those things you could sit, all day, all night and just sit there and it's fascinating when you get around people that, do different or their version's a little bit different, but you can sit there and just be like, you just sit there and get lost because you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, or I never thought of doing it that way, or wonder if I could do that, and
so it's just like paranormal investigating. Then if you actually sit back and not condemn or anything else, you just kind of watch what people are doing, you can actually pick up things like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I don't like that, but that's neat, but I don't know about that. And I want to do that, but hell, I ain't touching that. So it's interesting to equate it like that. It puts in a concept that I can understand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I was going to say earlier, my wife, was all in, for me to doing the paranormal investigating and stuff like that. That's cool, because we used to watch before we had kids. We'd watch the shows together and we'd just like, oh, maybe one day we'll get to do that, and then when I started doing the whole mediumship stuff, she's just like, why do you want to talk to them? Right. I don't want to talk to them. I'm like, I don't know. I just got a calling for it. It just feels great. I mean, and even then with the paranormal cases, if you're doing personal readings, I think it just like we all do, it's all about helping, Obviously we want to help, or learn whatever, whatever your motive is for what you're doing. But like, I'm always wanting to learn, but at the same time, I mean, if I can help somebody, bring closure, or, give them that last messages that, did they make it to the other side, and are they, safe, and, cause then they're worrying, and that's not helping them live their life anymore.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to do that for others, and even then, obviously there's times where, I'm not getting a lot of information. So I said, well, let's try it in another week. And then finally, like, the info's flowing. So, it just,
with Jason, I've knowing you now for a couple of years, and with Teresa and Tina and all the people that we've met, blessed to meet through the paranormal and through the convention and everything like that. Neither one of us have ever sat down for reading, ever.
Right.
He's curious. I'm like, you don't want it in here. I don't want it in here. You don't need it in here.
You never know. You never know what's going to come through, and that's part of it. That's good for us, the people doing the readings, because it's like, well, I have no idea. Like for either of you, I wouldn't have a clue what would come through, and that's not for me to decide. It's whoever wants to share information about you. That's what's going to come through, and sometimes it could get really detailed, and sometimes it could be pretty vague.
That's what a lot of them told me, is like, dumbass, they don't go inside your head. They talk to the people that's around you. Just want to give you a message. I'm like, oh, okay. As long as they don't get inside here. There's
like, just gonna get lost running around, right?
I like I tell everybody, it's like 13 personalities stuck in here, and 12 of them don't like me, and I don't know which one's me. So just stay out. That's not good in there. So
the other thing that I think is that people should know, and I can, only because I've talked to you, Adam, and I've talked to Tina and Teresa and Scotty and Rebecca Smunk and
wonderful people, talented.
That have these abilities, is sometimes the toll that it takes on your body, and the mental draining and the energy draining and everything that to me, I would never think about. Again, I can't do it. But I think people need to understand that too, that there's, I don't want to say a downside of having these abilities, but it definitely does take a toll. And I know it's hit you pretty hard a couple of times.
This year has been bad.
So kind of talk about what you do, or how do you re-energize or decompress to help you so that you can continue to do these awesome things with your abilities, but still try to maintain your health.
It really comes down to the fact that you, as much as you want to keep doing things, and even then, like Jay, you just want to keep going. You're the energizer buddy, and you want to keep helping. You want to do this and that, and you just keep. I got these ideas for a show or a topic. So you're running around, and what happens is when you do that for so long, you just get cut down, and you lose all energy. You're just completely drained, and the only way to do it is to literally stop what you're doing. So focus on the things that are important, keeping yourself fed, getting yourself some rest, and just sort of step back a little bit. And there's times that I'll post on my Medium page, it's like, hey guys, I'm just gonna be taking it easy, for the next week or so. And I never really truly say like how long it's going to be, because everybody's going to let me know when I'm ready to go. Even if I feel like I got energy, they're going to be like, a little bit longer, but relax and chill. And a big one for me is because a lot of my schooling and things and how I developed once I opened that door was being outside in nature. So there's a lot of times that I will walk outside, even if it's just on the front porch or my back deck. And, I will just either sit in silence and just do an open eye meditation, just normal breathing, but just pushing everything out, not worrying about anything, and just taking some time for myself. And I think that's what a lot, people need to do, just even in general, is just stop for 5-10 minutes and just chill. But nature's been big, because if you really, again, you don't have to be an outdoorsy type of person, but just to go outside, go stand next to your car or something, like even if like you're in an apartment, and just go outside and just breathe the air. Don't look at your phone. You got to disconnect from everything. It might be hard to do, but disconnect. And the more you can disconnect and let that stuff go, the more you start to feel that come back. And so I will do it for as long as I need to, try to get rest, get to bed early, or at least, get as much sleep as I can. Sometimes I don't because it's just what happens. But yeah, so a lot of as much personal time as you can, as long as you're taking care of obviously the real responsibilities, family, your day job, and all that fun stuff.
Right. I'm gonna roll into another plug on you, Adam, because I've sat and listened every once in a while. You'll come on and do some meditative music.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe it's like a flute.
Native American flute. Yep.
And I've sat and just watched you. You've done some live things and just played, and very relaxing. How did you get involved in that? And maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, the music stuff, I mean, it grew up, my dad, played since he was, a young kid. And I wasn't sure. I really wanted to do sports. So I didn't start, playing music until junior high. So 7th grade, but I was already way behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So my dad's like, well, we'll get you going. I was going to play alto saxophone, which is what he grew up on. And, besides a couple more instruments, but, it was no better than have a personal teacher right here, so like during that summer before 7th grade started, I would just be practicing, and then he'd come home from work and he'd hear me playing. He'd come down and he would, just give me tips and tricks, or let's do it like this, or, slow this, just all the stuff, a teacher would do for you. So got into 7th grade band, but what they were doing was they had the people that were still struggling, they gave them a little bit more time to get better at it. So you gotta remember, so I started in June of that year. By December, when the second quarter was ending, I was good enough to be moved up into the full band. So I move up in the full band, I'm like 6th or 7th chair, so I'm playing like the easiest of easy parts. So if anybody knows band, that first chair you're playing the lead stuff, and second chair you kind of got a little bit closer to that, but then after that you're playing the really easy parts. By the end of the school year, so literally almost a full year, so essentially 11 months, I ended up being first chair.
Damn.
So in less than a year, I worked my ass off to get where I was. So music was in the blood. Fast forward after, and I had, I also did, rock music, heavy metal music, grunge music, because I grew up through the 90s, and so sure. I had bands and stuff like that, so we had a good time. And then after college and stuff like that, I heard some of it, and I'm open to all genres of music. Some people just only listen to a certain thing, but I'll put on classical music and I'll just be in my own little world, just excited, But I heard relaxation music and I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And eventually I was doing an outdoor survival class, a weekend one, and one of the instructors, who doesn't not like to play in front of people, pulled out one of his Native American flutes and he played it for us. Now, we were in southeastern Ohio. We were in a national forest. There's nothing. We were camping out in the middle of the woods. There's nothing. You just hear nature. You don't even have cell phones coverage. That's how remote this place is. We got a campfire going. And I tell you what, though, it changed my life just hearing that. It was October that year. And I remember my wife was with me and we were walking back to the tent. And I said, honey, for Christmas this year, I want a Native American flute and nothing else, because I knew this was my calling.
Right.
So sure enough, I got that flute. And then for a couple of years, I'm sitting there just trying to figure it out, play it, and things like that. And then finally got to the point where it started becoming more, flowing, because anybody can play the Native American flute. It's that, meaning, Jay, at least you can play a note. You might not be able to play a song, but you can play notes.
I can barely.
But it just got to a point where it was fun, and so eventually, I recorded my first CD, and which I go under a different name for that one, just because again the last name, so it's Adam Hawkins. And then the CD, which you can find on all the major download sites, is First Flight, Let the Journey Begin. And it's basically a journey. I created the CD so anybody can listen to it, obviously, but for people that are looking for something like, I need help sleeping, or I need help with drug addiction, or I need just to get the stress out of my life. So it's not meant for one particular thing. It's meant for everybody, because I've had everybody come at me, before my CD went officially live in my own family. My niece was struggling with sleep disorders. They didn't tell us this. They got my music because they're from Houston, Texas now. So they would visit. They bought the CDs and then they were downloading it. It's like, holy smokes. And so come to find out that she couldn't fall asleep and she would be up all night basically. Well, she was listening to my music, and the parents, my sister-in-law and her husband, would peek in, and here she is passed out with her headphones in to my music. And I'm like, and I said one of my goals was, one, just to release the CD and just say I did it, but two was like, if I can help one person, then no matter how many hours I was in the studio, no matter how much money I spent making this, I helped one person. That's all I needed to know. And the rest wouldn't matter. And so, I'm emotional at that point. I'm bawling, cause I'm like, this is so cool that, you can help people. And then when people listen to it and it helps them with their sleep and other things, people with drug addiction and alcohol abuse, that were playing it and were just completely changed them. They didn't want to pick up that bottle or, do that, illegal stuff. And so it's just, something that's just so much, you get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and even for me, when I play live, I'm getting relaxation out of it. I'm working.
Oh yeah.
I still feel really good about it. And there's times where I forget when I'm playing a song that I'm even playing. So I'm like playing and I realize that I usually keep a clock so I can kind of know where I'm at. And I'll realize I'm like almost 5 minutes into a song. I'm like, oh, maybe I should change flutes now. That's probably a good idea. So I'm thinking this. I'm like, okay, I'll stop now and change flutes. But yeah, it's a lot of cool things. And it's not for everybody. I wish it would be, but I think we all could use a moment, whether it's my music or others. There's so many other great artists out there and so many different genres of relaxation music. But it's just
all types of music. I'm like you. I love all types of music. I really do. I enjoy everything from every tempo.
Yep.
My problem is that I'm a musician's perfect friend because I can't play and I can't sing. And don't get me wrong, I took guitar lessons for like 6 years. My mom and dad paid for them. I still can't play the guitar and I still can't read music. They paid for 6 years for nothing. So, but I tried and I just couldn't pick up on it. It never looked any different to me than Chinese writing. I just couldn't pick up on it. Just never clicked. Whether it was my attention span with my ADHD, I don't know, and I don't care.
Right.
But I love all styles of music. And for me, with my ADHD, sometimes that style of music that you're talking there, that relaxation music, does help out quite a bit. It'll get me to slow down just a little bit to focus.
That's it. And I always look at I look at it too, just like with when I do healings for somebody, I'm not looking for to change the world. I'm looking just to take a little bit and just help you ever so much. Like if you're in pain and I can take just the edge of it off, that's a win. If we go any further, great. And just like the music, if it just helps a little bit, it might not change everything. It's just the point,
Well, it would actually, like that's something, and I haven't heard your CD, and I definitely want to go get it. But that style of music sometimes, and especially when it had like the nature sounds in the background, it slowed my mind down just enough where I could focus on one or two things instead of 50 things. It's like, okay,
that's it. That's exactly it.
That kind of music takes me to another place.
Right.
Like if I listen to the relaxation music and that kind of thing, I can close my eyes and put myself like on a walk through nature, on a walk through the woods, or
so you're time traveling, you're traveling like he was talking about with your spirit travel.
A little bit.
Seriously, that's not the same thing, isn't it?
It is in a way. Here's
the thing, Adam. He's busting me up a little bit because
I'm not. I'm trying to get you to understand.
Over the last, he and I opened up a whole lot. Over this past year.
One of us closed back down because some weird shit happened.
Right.
I have not closed back down. And there's been things now happening, and I've sat and talked with Scotty for a little bit on.
I ain't talking about it, Jason.
What you were saying was happening to you when you were 11, 12, where I'm seeing things before they happen. And I use it's deja vu. And Scotty's like, there's no such thing as deja vu. Stop it right now.
Right.
So I'm starting to have that.
Yeah.
But and it was just funny because you said it earlier.
Yeah.
I can't turn it on. I can't turn it off.
Right.
I can't think about something and do it or whatever. It's just kind of one of those things where I'm driving down the street and I see something and I'm like, you know what they should do with that? They should do this, this, and this. I think that would look cool over there. And then 2 weeks, the same thing that I was just thinking about is happening. And I'm like, damn, that's weird. So now it's that journey for me is starting. And I don't know how long that journey is going to be, but I'm open to figuring things out.
Mhm.
And like I said, with that music, I can just close my eyes and listen to that music, and I can see myself walking in the woods on a trail and just hearing and feeling. I can feel the breeze. I can feel, and that to me is where I like to go, because
But that's traveling.
for the people that know me and my job and everything else, I deal with stress
Yep.
all day, every day.
Yep.
So for me to be able just to turn off for 15, 20 minutes, listen to music like that, and just go somewhere else for a second is very relaxing for me.
And that's the ultimate epitome of meditation. You know, when you get to, especially starting off, when you're not really used to the meditation thing, it's great to have those places, whether it's a made up one that you're creating or even a favorite place that you've been to. So whether it's a park or, whatever the case is. I mean, I've had people where they just enjoyed like like their grandparents' house, and that was where they wanted to go for it.
Right.
It's wherever makes you happy. And like I have that stuff too, and it's a part of the process of how I learn to communicate with my guides. You go through these different areas, and you get to experience different scenarios as far as scenery goes, and you can go to these places. You can do whatever you want. There's no harm that's going to come to you. If you want to fly up into the air, you can fly up in the air. If you want to swim under the water and breathe underwater, you can do that. And that's the cool thing, is the more you make it real, the more you, like you said, you can feel the breeze, and you can smell things, or touch a tree or smell a flower, or anything you can make real in that. That is what helps you calm down even more, because you're completely have now knocked out everything stressful in your life, or anything that's bothering you, or any of that negative stuff that just kind of holds you down a little bit. Right. So when I teach because I do help people with meditation, getting them started, I start them off simple, just a couple minutes, and then we start working it up time wise. But even then, I can do it to where I will shut down and just go complete dark and go black. And then for me, now that's better for me, because I don't want to see anything, because I want to be completely with myself and completely out of it at that point. So right. I'll do the scenery and stuff just to help, but I also do like it when it's completely dark and nothing, because then I can't say, oh, well, this color, reminds me of this. And so your mind doesn't travel. And in darkness, it might be scary for some, but for me, it's like, no, I can't pick on anything or look at something right. and stuff.
To me, darkness is more relaxing.
Yeah,
because it takes out everything. With my ADHD, it's always working. So if I can actually take all that away and not have to focus on anything, so being in darkness to me is absolutely complete relaxing to me. It's like, okay, there's nothing to stimulate the brain cells. Right. There's no pin of light. There's no nothing. This is cool.
But that's tough for people.
For me, like, if I'm in complete darkness on an investigation, and I guess that's something different than if you're meditating, but then I think you activate more senses. Yeah. You activate the feel, you activate, if I can't smell. I've had my nose busted too many times for,
various things,
and work and everything else.
Yeah.
So, but I can taste smells.
Sure.
And so when we're doing, investigations and things, and it's complete darkness, that's why Jay and I, a lot of times when we investigate and it's just he and I, we don't have anything. There's no equipment. We just sit and go off of ourselves.
But we're trying to learn what they do. We're trying to understand and get that feeling. And I'll throw it out there real quick. What they're talking, why I shut down is because, like Teresa said up there in the comments, we went from not being completely closed to wide open, just open up everything. Said, here, have at it. See what happens. We were here at the house, and we were having a little bonfire outside and stuff. And I come in the house, get something to drink, and I saw towards the other end of the house, down where the other two spare bedrooms are at, my studio's at, my son's room at, in the hallway, I saw a about a 6 foot tall man, shoulder length blonde hair, white t-shirt, khaki pants on, standing there. And I kind of looked away, looked back, and it was gone. And I walked over and I got my drink, and drinking non-alcohol stuff. So there's nothing enhancing this. I look back over and I see him again. And I'm like, well, that's bullshit. And I'm done with this. And I walked outside and looked at my son, and I described him to a T like I just did to my son and Teresa. And I said, I don't know who the hell he is, son, but he's at your end of the house by your bedroom, and you're screwed tonight. I'm out. I'm done. See y'all later. I don't need to see this shit. I got enough bad stuff in my head. I don't need y'all stuff too. I'm gone. And I shut completely back down again. I'm like, I don't need to see this shit. I don't want to hear this shit. We've got psychic mediums that are gifted and talented. We don't need stupidity fall in this case. Y'all do what you do. I'll do what I do. Well, I'll get along just fine. Done. See ya. Bye.
Yeah.
So I went back to my style of being the crash test dummy, like standing up there and saying, okay, like at 101, when I said, you can push me out a second floor window. And everybody's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I got Affleck for that. I get hurt. She gets paid. Everybody's happy. I want that interaction that way. To see things and hear things like you guys do. No, thank you. I'm done. One time, I'm out. See ya. I want mine physical, not mental. I've got enough mental shit.
and see, with me, I'm trying to learn more about it. I want to, because that doesn't freak me out like that. I want to learn more, especially if I can just see a little more, maybe interact a little more.
Yep.
I know that everybody is different. Everybody has different gifts. Everybody has different things. Right. And that's why I love sitting down with you and others just to talk, just to figure out how, what you did on your journey, how your journey began for you and what you do. And that's, like I said, I'm trying to learn more about it because I think it's fascinating. It drives me nuts. And Jay and I talk about this all the time. It drives me nuts when you talk with a paranormal team and you say, oh, hey, what'd you guys do? Oh, we went to this location and we investigated for 6 hours and we only got one EVP. And that's it. And I'm thinking, that's it? If you think about it, you just talked to another spirit on a different dimension that answered a question that you put out there and got an intelligent response back to, and that's not good enough.
Right.
Like how many do you want? Like you've talked to something on a different dimension that's not even, you can't reach out and touch. You can't, and they answered you. They talked back to you. Right. And that's not enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes I question, then why are you doing this? What are you looking for then? What are you trying to accomplish?
That made for TV moment.
I was going to say that it just screams TV, because every week they get something,
right.
Whether it's 100% genuine or not, they got something. And you think that that's going to happen every single time. Right. I mean, the mill is, can be pretty active. There's usually one spot that you're going to get something out of it, but then every once in a while, the place is cold. There ain't nothing. You can't even feel it. Normally you can feel the energy. It's just the way it is.
With that, you keep saying the mill, the what mill?
Like the old mill and museum in Dundee, Michigan. So the old mill, it was an old, literally back in the early 1800s, so, it was a grist mill, in Dundee or the village of Dundee. And they, eventually, so over the years, it was the mill, and then it turned over into, it went abandoned. Henry Ford bought it because he was big into utilizing natural resources because there was a river there. So what he did was he dammed it up to where he turned it into a hydroelectric plant, which then he created welding tips for the factory line from our old mill. And that's why I say old mill. But it's it's been around forever, and so eventually, it changed hands a couple times, but then eventually it was sold to the village for $1, as long as they kept it in some sort of community capacity. So what they did was they created in the old section of the building, there's 3 levels, and so the first level is a timeline room, shows basically the whole timeline of the village of Dundee from when the Potawatomi Indians were there. and then showed when the mill, some of the earliest photos, showed it when it was renovated. Got photos of Henry Ford, outside the old mill, and then after that, you can go up to the second and third levels, and they have, what some of the bedrooms looked like back then. They have a little mini schoolhouse in there, and they have a Native American section, and they have farming section. So, it truly is a museum when you get to go there. But I mean, it's also has a banquet hall in the back, which, people, rent out for big parties, and we do a Parafest,
I was going to say, you guys do a Paracon up there.
Yeah. I mean, right now we just officially announced that obviously we can't do an in-person, but we will be doing a virtual one. So it's just, we're going to try it. We're going to give it a whirl and see if that works out. But
I don't know how. I know Jason and Teresa and Tina's listening. She's in the chat room too. We do a lot of things to help historic locations like that. And if there's ever a time that if Paranormal Mysteries and LAP Productions can get together and help out with a fundraiser for the location, sure. If there's a way that we can be there, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, all of us, it doesn't matter. Let us know. We're always down to helping historic locations. Yeah. We volunteer constantly because that's something we believe in with the paranormal, that the paranormal can help what's here now and the living. We can transcend it. Even as people without abilities, we can help preserve our history and use the paranormal to help do that. So, like I said, maybe it may be one of us, maybe it could be all of us, but as many as can possibly get there, we'll be there to help out in any way that we can. We'd love to do that thing. So
that's the thing is, we obviously, like I said, we're going to do virtual this year. But what we're going to do is, if people like yourselves, if we are still taking, because we are going to try to get some people to speak. So obviously virtually. So there is some cost, just not going to be the normal cost, but we are taking sponsors and things. So at a much reduced cost. But if you obviously want to go that route to get your name in there, and we will have that flashed up, when in between speakers and things like that we want to, promote people, obviously. And if there's things that you guys sell, if there's a store, link to your stuff, we would be, plugging, all that good stuff in, so it's a big difference.
I do know that Joseph Warner asked earlier if the mill was open yet, and I know you said you're going to try to. So
we are. It's funny. This week we said we were, doing the virtual in November, and then at the same time we're opening it up again. Obviously, there's guidelines. We can't have more than 10 people in the one section of the building, which is the old side. So, mask, obviously, the stuff we're all used to, of course, regardless of how you feel about it. But that's not my policy. I have to follow.
Absolutely not.
But because it's a museum, the state really is hardcore. So we really are. Michigan wants to do their thing. We're going to do their thing. So we don't want to mess with anything and get anybody in trouble. So, but we are public and private. So if you went to the old mill, you guys, I know people were asking about links and things. So you can go to the Haunted Old Mill Facebook page. You can get a lot of information there. You can obviously Google Old Mill and Museum in Dundee. You get a lot of info there. But we're opening it back up. It's just now started for the very first time again. So, but we're starting to get a few. I think we almost got maybe 4 with just this week that are going to be booked in October. So
that's awesome.
And everybody's got the itch. Everybody wants to get back doing it. Yeah. Everybody wants some sort of normalcy.
Yeah, because I haven't done anything. I got to go in June to the old mill. We got to at least have a few of us hang out, spread out, of course, and just see each other for the first time, because the last time was in March. So we got to go just to hang out and just see the place again and say hi to our friends there.
I know the Collingwood Art Center is calling me. They're calling my name.
There you go.
The spirits there for sure, saying, "Hey, what about us?"
So and we did that with 101. We just went over there and just hung out. Just got to get the building and feel it again. It's like, oh God, yes.
I will say one thing too is, so if people are interested in investigating the old mill, another thing that's not up to us is that it has to be Fridays. So unfortunately, we cannot do Saturdays the weekend, because a lot of times there's always a bigger event on Saturday, and they don't want anything being met, because the banquet hall is big. I mean, you could fit, hundreds and hundreds of people in there. You just, when they have things set up for a wedding or whatever the case is, they don't want us in there.
I understand that. That's
sure. So we're Friday nights, it stinks, but at the same time, it's a good time to take a, half day off or take a day off and then come on out. And, we started, you can show up about between 7:30 and 7:45. We start at 8 and run till 4 a.m. if you want to make it that long. So
gotcha.
And it's cheap, like $37. So it's not real pricey. I mean, some places are, we used to, and right now we can't, we used to include like a midnight meal, like sloppy joes or maybe some soup, or something like that, but just to give everybody a little bit of something. But
sure.
We try to, but right now there's even a thing on food serving. So we'd have to be boxing everything up.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Jesus.
I don't agree with a lot of the things going on, but as I keep telling everybody, I participate. To me, it's no different. No shirt, no shoes, no service. I don't,
Yeah,
I get it. Every place has its rights, and I respect that. I have the choice. I either don the mask and go in, or I don't wear the mask and I stay the hell home. It's my choice. It's not your fault. It's not their fault.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Yep.
Don't be an ass about it. And I'm not. I respect that. I'm not going to treat people who have no say in it like a heel when they have no say in it. They're just following instructions.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah,
So,
I'm definitely interested.
So let's give you a minute here, Adam.
Or longer.
Plug yourself away. Where can people see you? I know your dad, and we've talked. You also do a show, live show as well. I mean, you've got your music, you've got things going on. So
writing a book.
Right.
Yeah, this is all about Adam time. So tell everybody where they can see you, where they can find you, where they can listen to you.
I'm taking over.
Can do all that. So,
yeah, I mean, now for a lot of the people that are interested in the paranormal or mediumship or spiritual things, the best place to go is Adam, the Black Swamp Medium Facebook page. That's where I do a lot of stuff. I have a personal Facebook page, and a lot of people try hitting that up. I'm probably not going to accept you because on that one, unless we're just hanging out, like where we're just going to shoot the breeze or something like that. But there's so many people that even though it's my page, I can do whatever the hell I want on it. I still kind of respect people and keep a lot of paranormal stuff off my main page. Once in a while, I'll plug something that's coming up, but I don't talk a lot of paranormal in my personal. So if you want paranormal, or you want something with mediumship and things like that, you want to go to the Adam the Black Swamp Medium. On Tuesdays at 7:00, I work with my friend Debbie, and we do a show called Beyond the Silence Radio. So we basically talk about it, like this, bring guests on, or we have topic shows like this Tuesday, we're going to talk about tarot cards, and then, all the different topics, crypto stuff, and UFOs. I mean, we've hit it all. And then I just started about the last month. I'm trying to do a bi-weekly show on just my Black Swamp Medium page, which is just a mid-morning medium chat with myself. So it's basically an open topic. It's on Saturdays about 9:30, and it's just meant to, I can bring some topics, or I can just have people come sit down. Let's just start our day together is how I like to call it. We'll just have our drinks and breakfasts, and we'll just kind of keep it open. And if it goes for 15 minutes, great. If it goes for an hour, great. And then, you let everybody get, go on about their day. So this coming Saturday, I'll have that show.
That's awesome.
And then after that, the music, Adam Hawkins. So I do have a Facebook page. So if you find that, you go to all the major download sites. It does have that CD. I only have one right now because as you were saying, Jay, I'm so busy. I've had a hard time trying to even build another CD, which I desperately want to, but I just can't get enough time, because then when I sit down, it's like something else happens, or I get a case that comes in, and so I just tend to lean towards the medium stuff. But so there's that, and then you can still get some physical copies. Typically, if you do see them at an event where I'm, whether I'm doing my mediumship stuff, I will have CDs. Amazon supposedly has them now. Just don't get any of the ones that are like super high price, because I seen one once that was like $30. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not seeing that money.
Right.
So that's killed me when I saw that one. I'm like, you got to be, talking to myself. But
right.
But yeah, you want to get it when it's downloading is like, I think like $10, and Amazon might bump it up like 50. It's normally 15, but they might have it at like 16 or 17. I don't know, something like that.
Gotcha.
but that's probably all the big stuff. I mean,
And as you
yeah,
see, Mama D, our love of our life, is putting all the
I
links.
appreciate that.
She's so wonderful. I don't know
That's
how
awesome.
I do. I couldn't do a podcast without her. I don't think she's always got our back, doesn't she, Jason?
Yeah, she
Never
does.
show. She's got our back
For
I
sure.
appreciate it.
because she knows we're a couple goof asses.
Right. Well, seriously, Adam, we can't thank you enough, man. I respect everything that you're doing. I respect, you as a person. Love seeing you out. I love doing conventions with you.
I know I miss you guys.
Yeah, this
It's been
year's
a year.
kinda, this year's been kind of a kick in the
You know what?
no-nos for sure. But I think we're going to be on the mend here shortly after
Yeah.
November.
Yep.
And
Yes.
I think things will start going back to the way that they
used to
were.
be.
But just you're just doing really good things. You're doing great things. You're a truly genuine person, Adam. And I again, honored to have you on. I'm glad that you could put some time here on Sunday and sit down with us. I
appreciate you
it.
guys. I mean, it means a lot, to talk to you guys. And like I said, this is the way it is this year, where we got to see each other through a computer screen. But hey, at least I can hear your voices, and that's always the best thing in the world, to still stay in touch, like we've been all trying to do with each other, to not go completely off our rockers. But
Absolutely.
Well, like I said, all I can do is reiterate exactly what you both said. There's so much absolute and that's something that is nice to see in this field, that see that people are showing this common respect for one another. I think it's a growing trend. I think it's something that there's people leading the way by example, not by conversation.
Right.
And the other side is starting to finally fade away, because it's becoming very open with these kind of conversations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate both of you taking that time and allowing me to be a part of it.
You quit it.
Stop. Oh, seriously. I mean, it is. It's an honor and a privilege. But that's what good friends do. They feel honored and privileged to talk with one another.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's what good people do. And that's just what it is. And like I said, I'll shut up.
No, I say this all the time: surround yourself with good people, and good things happen. And that's what Jay and I try to do. And that's like I said, respect you 100%, Adam. You're doing great things.
You guys too. Yeah.
And
again, thanks for coming on.
Get in trouble. I see all the time. All I got to do is ride Jason's coattails.
And on that note, you son of a bitch.
Y'all have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Go find all those links. Go click on them. Go like them. Go follow his Black Swamp Medium page. I'm already on my Facebook page. I already stalk him. So your turn to stalk him. You guys, you got questions?
I've been stalking him for years.
Me too. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you later. Thanks again.
See you guys.
Thank you.